Well, it's a new day dawning as the sun begins to set on Donald Trump's horrible vision for America. Now, the first indication of this shift in momentum came when Biden relinquished his bid for the presidency in favor of Kamala Harris to lead the Democratic ticket in November. Now, in one of the most astute political moves you could imagine, Harris has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to take to the big dance in November. And the reasons that this is astute are numerous. But the greatest evidence is in today's amazing news. The incredible response from the Trump campaign just this morning. It's another study in caps. It's a knee-jerk fundraising email that reeks of panic and fear. And we can't wait to share that email with you in just a second. But first, let's spend a few minutes while we can with Democratic Vice Presidential candidate Tim Walz, who, as you'll see in this previous clip, has already outsmarted and outmaneuvered today's criticism hurled by MAGA's Mensa candidate.
I read a lot. They like to say I don't read. I read a lot. I comprehend extraordinarily well. Probably better than anybody that you've interviewed in a long time.
So let's hang for a quick and illuminating minute with the former high school football coach, who is probably not afraid to kick the locker room talkers right in the butt.
Trump is trying to paint Vice President Harris as an ultra-liberal. Of all her potential running mates, you might have the most progressive record as governor. I know you were more of a moderate when you were in the House, but you've legalized recreational marijuana, you passed universal background checks on guns, you expanded LGBTQ protections, you implemented tuition-free college for low-income Minnesotans. There's free breakfast and lunch for school kids. Do you think your record is an asset to the ticket, or would it risk fueling Trump's attacks as you being a big government liberal?
What a monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn, and women are making their own healthcare decisions. And we're a top 5 business state, and we also rank in the top 3 of happiness. Look, they're going to label whatever they're going to label. He's going to roll it out, mispronounce names, to try and make the case. The fact of the matter is, where you see the policies that Vice President Harris was a part of making, Democratic governors across the country executed those policies, and quality of life is higher, the economies are better, all of those things. Educational attainment is better. So yeah, my kids are going to eat here, and you're going to have a chance to go to college, and you're going to have an opportunity to live where we're working on reducing carbon emissions. Oh, and by the way, you're going to have personal incomes that are higher, and you're going to have health insurance. So if that's where they want to label me, I'm more than happy to take the label.
So as soon as today's news hit about Tim Walz, Team Trump sent a fundraising email so desperate and fear-laden that even the lies smacked of impending failure and doom. But before we show you that actual email, let's take a quick second and watch Tim's recent appearance on White Guys for Harris on that Zoom call. What a guy.
Here's the great news. How often in 100 days do you get to change the trajectory of the world? How often in 100 days do you get to do something that's going to impact generations to come? And how often in the world do you make that bastard wake up afterwards and know that a black woman kicked his ass and sent him on the road? And that's something that guy's going to have to live with for the rest of his life. So I got to tell all of you, please, please do what you can.
Well, without further ado, let's share Trump's desperate fundraising email from earlier today, as well as this story from Raw Story this morning. Here's the backstory, then we'll show you the actual fundraising email. Former President Donald Trump on Tuesday sent out an apocalyptic fundraising email about Minnesota Governor Tim Walz after Vice President Kamala Harris made him her choice to be her running mate. Via the Washington Post's Philip Bump. The email began by saying Walz would be the worst VP in history, and then claimed he would unleash hell on earth. And if that weren't enough, the email said Walz would rubber stamp Kamala's Green New scam and light trillions of dollars on fire. In fact, there is no indication that Harris will pursue the Green New Deal promoted by Senators Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez back in 2020, as many Democrats for now appear happy to campaign on the carbon emissions reduction measures passed in 2022 Inflation Reduction Act. The Trump email further stated that Walz has already pulled millions in dirty cash to buy the White House. Well, it's unclear what this means or what source this purported information about Walz's dirty cash came from. Trump is no stranger to apocalyptic rhetoric about his political opponents, as in 2020, he predicted that President Joe Biden would cause the stock market to crash while allowing Antifa activists to riot and pillage the suburban Midwest. So here's the actual desperate fundraising email sent this morning from Donald Trump. In case you didn't get it, you might want to check your junk folder. When looking at Trump-generated emails, we see a few common elements of style. For example, lies can be put forth either in lowercase or in uppercase so long as they are lies. Hell on earth, green new scam, trillions, millions, and of course, he's that bad. In red? Why in red? Because he's that bad for Trump. Well, once he was grabbing at, now he's grabbing at straws. And as the boat begins sinking and the Midwestern land shark from Minnesota begins circling,
I'll take the one without the sharks.
Maybe someone in his camp of geniuses can advise Trump that when the tide turns as it has today, with the water rising in the vice presidential race, please be aware that a living room couch is not suitable for use as a flotation device. Full speed ahead.